that you make it, and maybe you can fake it, but you're never gonna make it. Aren't you just gonna take that? Make them take it all back. Don't tell me you believe that. Aren't you just gonna take that? Or will you fucking fight back? Yeah. You ain't gonna make it, you ain't never ever gonna break it. You can never beat them and they're better than you face it. Thinking that they give a damn, you're not thinking straight, kid. No, they don't give a damn, you got what I'm saying? I'm not fucking playing, I'll give it to you straight, man. There's too many others and you're not that great, man. Stop what you're saying, stop what you're making. Everybody here knows that you just faking.
Hello and welcome to the Whiskey Tangent Podcast, Whiskey Madness 2024, the road to the final pour, a 5-week-long blind tasting tournament featuring 18 whiskeys from around the world. I'm Scott, and joining me as always is Ed.
Hey, everybody.
And Sherpa Gabe, once again officiating and providing some semblance of fairness and decorum.
Maybe.
Yeah, not really. And we're here once again at the Whiskey Tangent Arena / Breakfast Bar in downtown Marlton, New Jersey, where the anticipation is palpable for round 2. Last week in round 1, in the 80 and 110 proof brackets, we had 2 ties and 2 upsets. And this week we're expecting more of the same in the 90 and 100 proof brackets as 5 expressions from 4 major whiskey behemoths go toe-to-toe with each other and against 3 different small craft distilleries. And Ed's here to get into exactly which 8 whiskeys will be competing today to make their Whiskey Madness wishes come true.
Thank you, Scott. I don't think I've ever been excited, it's a lie, I'm always excited, but about a round more than the 90 to 99 proof bracket that we have coming, unless it's the 100 to 109 proof bracket we have coming after that.
Indeed.
The 4th seed is going to be the upstart Kyrö malted rye from Finland that won its pigtail to get in during the pregame show.
That's right.
The 3rd seed is a brand that we've had a lot of success as far as getting drunk on, the Koval distillery, which is going to give us a 4-grain whiskey. They always have interesting mash bills, and this one's no different.
Yeah.
Now, the 1st and 2nd seeds of this bracket are iconic. The Elmer T. Lee Bourbon will be the 2nd seed, and you're like, well, massive Sazerac-owned brand made by Buffalo Trace Distillery. Who could possibly be ranked above it? Well, I'll tell you. It's its cousin, the Weller 12-year wheated bourbon, and it will be the top seed of the 90 and 99 proof bracket. So I think a lot of people are going to want to see. First of all, does either one get upset? And if it's the Kyrö, I mean, Scandinavia is going to be up all night partying. Yeah, I mean, because, you know, Denmark and Sweden, they're all kind of riding this too, you know?
That's true.
If I'm not mistaken, isn't part of the time of the year night all the time anyway? So
that's right.
Right, either way. It's
they're going to be up all night, whether it's daytime or night. So
I think that's a very good point, Gabe. So to review, the 90 proof bracket is going to be Kyrö, the 4th seed, the Koval, the 3rd, Elmer T. Lee is number 2, and the Weller 12-year is number 1. Now, the 100 to 109 proof bracket, the 4th seed will be the Blue Note Crossroads bourbon. Another mammoth brand, Jack Daniel's, will be represented in this round by the Triple Mash whiskey. That'll be the number 3. Why number 3? Well, we have 2 other iconic brands above Jack Daniel's
definitely.
even. The 2nd seed is one that Scott and I have always been partial to as an everyday drinker, whether you're in the backseat of your car or whether you're walking down the street. The Four Roses single barrel bourbon is iconic and delicious.
Neither of which you could do in New Jersey.
brown bagging it, of course.
Yeah.
Well, nothing's wrong with a little roadie. You don't drive drunk, but a little roadie never hurt anybody. So finally, the top seed is also from a mammoth, maybe less well-known brand to the average person. It's from MGP. They bring us the one-off Remus Repeal Reserve Series 7 bourbon. All of these are 100 proof, by the way.
Yep.
And so it's going to be very difficult to tell them apart by that aspect.
Yeah.
And so to review, Blue Note Crossroads is 4, Jack Daniel's Triple Mash is 3, Four Roses Single Barrel is the 2nd seed, and coming up as a 1st seed, the Remus Repeal Reserve Series 7. So pretty exciting, Gabe.
Quick question. With the selection committees deciding the seedings here, was there a problem with the 1 and 2?
You mean between the Lee?
The Four Roses and the Four Roses and the Remus.
I mean, part of the debate was, I mean, I remember this came up from some of our people across the country were saying that the Four Roses, they deserve to be number 1. They're a more established brand.
Exactly.
The single barrel is kind of like their flagship product. They have a lot of merit to that, and then you could very easily flip these. But I think the fact that the Remus Repeal is a little bit more unique, it's got different mash bills blended together as opposed to a single barrel, they're exact opposite things. And the fact that it's a one-off, and the fact that, you know, we've had some success with it in the past, we decided to give it a nod. Scott?
Yeah, so some of the arguments that the selection committee has end up being kind of moot, because if you switch them 1 and 2, they're still not going to be playing each other.
Well, I
so
guess
it doesn't matter where you place them.
Yeah, I guess they'll have different opponents, but if they're going to get upset, they're going to upset now. now or the final round of the bracket. So if Remus can't beat the triple mash now or the Blue Note, whichever one it got, they're going to face him eventually, I guess.
Yeah.
All right, good. I mean, there's no reason to get upset. I was just asking.
No. It's a really good question, Gabe. Thanks so much.
Shade.
Yeah. The first bracket that we're going to be doing is the 90 to 99 proof, and the first up will be the 2 vs. 3. Everyone's brand they love to wonder about, because not only have I not drank this brand in 10 years, I don't think I've ever walked into a bar and seen anybody drinking it in the last 10 years.
No, it's hard to get.
So it's the Elmer T. Lee Bourbon, which will be going against the Koval 4-grain whiskey.
Right. The Koval single barrel 4-grain. The distiller bottle is Koval Distillery in Chicago, Illinois. The mash bill is not disclosed. However, they do tell us what the grains are: rye, wheat, malted barley, and oats. The proof is 94. The age is just 2 years, and the price is about $50. I have a description from mash.com. Although the word Koval is Yiddish for blacksmith, it can also be used to refer to the black sheep of one's family, and it's the name that the husband and wife team of Sonat and Robert Berneker chose for their remarkable craft distillery in the spirit of going against the flock. Located in Chicago's North End, the Koval Distillery, the first legal one in the city since the mid-1800s, is a grain-to-bottle business making all sorts of interesting spirits, from beer schnapps to jasmine liqueur. In between, they managed to fit in a wide array of worthwhile whiskeys as well, including their 4-grain whiskey. Fun facts: all their whiskeys are distilled through a 2,000-gallon custom-made copper pot from Germany that has a unique bale shape on top that provides more surface area and thus more flavor. And then they age their whiskeys in heavily charred new oak barrels from Minnesota. And we featured their single barrel bourbon made with millet in last year's Whiskey Madness tournament. The tasting notes are banana pie crust, cinnamon, sticky dried fig, maple syrup, and oak.
Plus, when you use a German pastille, you get that added feature with a big speaker system that goes, "You will distill now." We still have to do German whiskey. I mean, holy crap. We've been talking about doing German whiskey for quite a few years. Yeah. So going into Elmer T. Lee, very interesting history. First of all, Elmer T. Lee from Sazerac Company, Buffalo Trace, was named after one of the great master distillers of Buffalo Trace. He was the master distiller for 36 years and retired in 85. That means he started in the 50s, right? He was instrumental in bringing Blanton's to market, all right, the first single barrel.
Yeah.
And so they named actually one of the next early single barrels, which is what we're drinking now, Elmer T. Lee. It's their famous number 2 mash bill, which is always undisclosed, but is supposed to be high rye, about 15% rye, which I don't consider that high rye actually, but
for them, it's their high rye.
Right.
Yeah.
So it probably, if you guesstimate 8 to 10% malted barley, so it's still very high corn.
Sure.
On its MSRP, respectfully priced by the company, but not what we get it at. Right?
Yeah.
This is supposed to be like a $45 bottle by them. I got it for $59. Amazing, because I've seen this for as much as $200.
Yeah.
And it's ridiculous at that price, and everyone who knows whiskey knows it.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be interesting to see how it holds up. We haven't tasted this. I mean, we had it down the shore literally a decade ago.
Yeah. That picture comes up like every year. Here's their anniversary picture, like 10 years ago.
Right, there we are. There's a picture of Elmer T. Lee, and I think Eagle Rare. I think it was like a whole plethora of bottles we can't get anymore.
Yeah, really, it was.
So that's going to be our first matchup.
Yeah. So my thoughts on this is these are the only 2 expressions in this entire round 2 that we've never featured on the podcast, and they're going head to head. And this is just another matchup like we had a few last time: a macro distillery traditional mash bill whiskey and a micro distiller's decidedly untraditional mash bill whiskey. That said, having never tasted the Koval and having not tasted the Elmer T. Lee for over a decade, as we were saying, I think this is a pretty good test to see how far a whiskey with oats in their mash bill can go.
So here's my thought.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that the Elmer T. Lee is going to be a very smooth drinker. It's going to go right down. It's going to have great traditional flavors as it's billed to have. And I think the Koval is going to be very different. And with the added proof, it might come up as being a little more complex. So I wonder if, the Elmer T. Lee gets punished in this round for being so smooth and so delicious. Right. But if it tastes good, once again, the best thing in our mouth is what gets picked.
That's right.
So we're ready, Gabe, when you are. Damn, I almost said bitch. I can't help myself sometimes. I didn't say bitch, but almost.
It's little bitch. One smells a little grainier than the other one does.
Yeah, I was nosing while you were doing the descriptions, and there is an odd complexity of one of them.
Yeah.
Which was not normally what you would get from a 80 to 90.
They both have very
proof.
interesting noses. A is a little darker than B. I don't know what that means.
Yeah, for a 90 proof, they are giving off quite a nose, both of them.
Yeah. The A has that little grainy dustiness.
And you said the Koval has one of the grains was oatmeal, so this would make a good breakfast whiskey. So
absolutely.
Or wait, maybe it was the B.
The Elmer T. Lee is supposedly 9 years, which I think is older than the Koval.
Yeah, the Koval is only 2 years.
All right.
So they must have aged them in smaller barrels.
Okay.
All right, we're going to taste it.
Do you guys have some water? Mm-hmm. Not that you will need it for the 90s, but you never know. It could bring something out. Scott's excited.
This A is different.
Yeah, it's very different.
There's like mint on there. Mm-hmm. Mint and anise. It's like a licorice mint.
Ooh, I just tasted them both back to back. I like to get a contrast right away.
Yeah.
B is really good. Not as minty and herbaceous as A. I gotta go back to A now.
Ooh, drinking A then B. Is it a cola flavor?
I don't know. It really, they play off each other well.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna go B to A right now.
Yeah, these are pretty good, both of these.
Yeah, due to B to A, it's interesting going back the other way.
Oh, okay. I'll do that.
There goes Ed telling Scott what to do again.
You have no idea, Gabe. B is quite nice. It's a little bit of cinnamon. It's a lot sweeter than A,
Right.
I think.
It wasn't so different to go in that order. Like B was featured more.
Yeah.
Now, for the 90 proofs, what kind of heat are you getting on these? I mean, you know,
I mean, drinking so many right back to back to back to back. Yeah, I'm getting a little bit of a Kentucky hug right now, but they're not.
No.
You can drink them straight. It's
They're
not
both,
a problem.
Yeah, they're both pretty smooth.
so these are the Kool-Aids for you until the real show starts.
No,
Right
I
to
mean-
the 100 bracket later.
I mean, they're whiskey. They're not weak. They're not thin. No, but
No,
I mean,
no. I love how they play off each other. Like we mentioned that already, but because there's so much contrast. And
my God.
when you drink A first, it makes B's finish taste a little bit like A.
Yeah.
But then when you drink B first, it makes A's palate taste more like B. It's really great.
I know. See, mostly people who aren't alcoholics, you don't drink two whiskeys at the same time. And so you don't understand what it's like when you have multiple whiskeys still in your mouth.
Nobody knows what it's like to be an alky, just like Balki on that dumb 80s show.
I show so much restraint by not joining in on that and doing the high part.
Just in case you're wondering, the Alcoholics Anonymous number is 844-714-7186 for those of you who need some help. We don't have a problem here.
Was that the real number? Don't give a fake number out. That's fucked up. Someone at the end of the rope, they just called and is like, Dominoes.
The number you have dialed.
You can edit that off, but here's the one from Philly. I can give you that.
No,
one.
stop.
No, stop.
No, stop. Oh, my God. All right. So where are you at, Ed? Are you ready to make a decision?
It's really tough, like they all are.
It's tough because they're both good.
I was going to say that the committee doesn't do us any favors by just stacking in studs.
Man, it's really friggin' good. Both of them.
It's really tough, but I made my decision.
Yeah.
Ed's selection is in hand.
To me, actually, at the end, it wasn't that hard anymore because I just think the novelty of one of them wore off, and I got the quality at the end.
Scott is still tasting. He is torn.
Whew.
Like a pair of tight, cheap blue jeans.
I'm all right.
It's close, but I think he went my way.
Gentlemen, we have a unanimous decision.
All right.
You both picked B.
B,
Yes.
yeah. So I think,
I guess right. At least we picked the same one.
I think A is the Koval and B
Right.
is the Elmer.
That's what I thought too.
Ding.
Oh, that's right.
All right.
Okay.
So the Elmer Tea is going to go on.
All right.
Just like I said, I sipped the Koval. It was so complex with the 4 grains and a little higher proof, and then kind of washed B out a little bit. Though B did taste good right away. But when I went back the other way and I had B by itself, A tasted a little raw, a little immature, and a little bit like those grains hadn't fully meshed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then the Elmer Tea is such a complete sip. It's a beautiful drink from palate to finish, and I didn't even add water to either one I didn't need to.
No.
They were tasting fine right where they were.
I really wanted to pick A because it's in my wheelhouse. It's different. It has
If it was 7 years old, I think it might have won for you.
that licorice mint is really
It
prevalent.
is.
in
It's great
It
whiskey.
is.
But
Yeah.
it does have a sort of papery, dusty scent to it, and its finish is not as well defined as the Elmer
Right.
Tea.
Like I said, it's a little immature. 2 years is still 2 years. You know, they're not in Texas.
Yeah.
I think if this was even a 4-year, it would have made it tighter because it was really a good whiskey. And I want people who like Koval to understand we like this whiskey a lot.
I almost picked it. I
But
really
you are
did.
going against an iconic 9-year-old whiskey that won the day. So the Elmer Tea is going on, and we're going to do the Weller 12-year against an upstart Kyrö rye whiskey from Finland. Give us a second to wash our glasses, and we'll be right back.
You cannot save me, 'cause I don't need saving. It's everything I've been chasing, all here for the taking. Don't wanna test your luck with me, I think I've had enough disease. I'm sick of all the bad thoughts, people who are half-nots.
You are not as tough as
All right, we're back, everybody, with the second matchup of the 90-99 proof bracket. It's going to be the Weller 12-year versus the Kyrö rye, malted rye, rather. I'm sorry. Scott is going to tell us about the Kyrö.
Right, so the distiller bottle is the Kyrö Distillery in Iso-Kyrö, Finland. The owners are 5 very close Finnish dudes who like to take saunas together. The mash bill is 100% malted rye. The proof is 94.4. There's no age statement, but I think it's around 3 years. The price is like $52. You can get it everywhere in New Jersey. Like I said on the Spirits of the Vikings episode, 71, I found it in 3 different places.
Right, yeah.
In the
amazing,
area. Yeah, so the description, which is theirs, Kyrö Malt is the first single batch rye whiskey made from 100% intensely spiced malted Finnish whole grain rye. It is double pot stilled and aged in new American white oak casks, resulting in a whiskey you've never tasted before. Fun facts, not to call the Kyrö guys liars, but we actually all tasted this before. It's the only world whiskey we have in the tournament this year, which Gabe chose over the Blue Note Rye to enter the tournament. And of course, Ed and I featured it just 6 weeks ago with Brian the Whiskey Explorer, where both he and Ed picked it as their favorite. The tasting notes are toasted rye bread, honey, wild berries, pepper, coffee, and caramel. Ed.
Outstanding. And it's going to be going against an iconic whiskey, the Weller 12-year from Sazerac Company, distilled by Buffalo Trace. It's 90 proof. The mash bill, as always, is undisclosed. W.L. Weller is a wheated bourbon originally created by Stitzel Weller Distilling Company. The brand is named after William LaRue Weller, a distiller who is credited by some as being the first to use wheat as a secondary grain in straight bourbon as opposed to the more commonly used rye. Notably, William LaRue Weller hired the famous Julian Van Winkle, who would later be known as Pappy. When Weller passed away in 1899, his company, W.L. Weller Sons, eventually merged with A.P.H. Stitzel Distillery, which was owned by Van Winkle. The companies worked together through Prohibition, operating under the medicinal license, and eventually became the Stitzel Weller Distilling Company in 1935. This is known for warm red fruits combined with sweet charred oak, vanilla caramel candy. According to, again, our friends over at Breaking Bourbon, they said that it is a beautifully scripted bourbon featuring excellent flavors, delightfully balanced, and an extremely satisfying sip. And so this is a top seed for a reason. I like the Antique 107 from the Weller Antique Collection, but was very impressed with the 12-year.
Yeah.
Then for me, the Kyrö won the Viking episode, so anything can happen here.
Right. I remember on the Weller 12-year, it was the most traditional tasting bourbon that I think we'd ever tried before. Like it's so very straightforward.
And yet it's a wheated bourbon.
And yet it's a wheated bourbon.
Very interesting.
I do have the mash bill that somebody, I don't know, leaked or something. They're wheated mash bill. So it's supposedly 70% corn, 16% wheat, 14% malted barley. There's no rye in it, of course, but the Kyrö is all rye.
Right.
Again, I sound like a broken record now because we have another macro distillery going against another small craft distillery.
Having put the Kyrö in on the taste in round, it was very distinctive. And then I know you think very highly of the Weller. I really believe that you're going to know which ones both of these are. But if you listened last year with the American Single Malt,
Old Line.
something distinctive that pops out can go quite a long way.
Last year, Old Line won.
Yeah.
Castran won the whole thing.
Yep.
It's a distinctive, lovely little bottle.
It was. Sorry, so we're ready to go here.
Yeah.
Gabe's about to hand us the A.
All right.
All right. I know what that is already, in my opinion.
Now, even when you were describing both of these, the nosing, both of these are very distinctive.
Very
Yeah,
distinctive.
it's already know what they
really
are.
nice.
Ooh,
You
okay.
know, now the tough decision comes, and you got to find out what your palate really likes. Is the Upstart going to? I think I might have answered that just by.
He is so good.
Yeah, A is less expressive on the nose, but it's
Oh my god,
sweeter,
so
you know,
flavorful.
yeah,
It's got a chubby.
so smooth.
B is so B, so different.
Oh my god, especially in contrast.
It's not even fair to taste them.
It's not fair.
We have to go back the other way.
It's not fair.
I might have to put a little water in B just to tamper down all of that. It's so smoky to me. Like,
Oh,
and
is
it's
it?
not
You're
even
getting
that-
smoky
It's not
flavors.
even that smoky. It's
No,
just,
well, one of the
it's
tasting
like a
notes
char. Like,
was toasted.
Yeah.
Toasted rye bread, which This is very similar to the last matchup.
Put a couple drops of water in it.
Yeah.
It really lets out some sweetness on B.
Yeah, and the proofs are very similar to the last time, 94.4 to 90. The weird grains of the Koval, which I really liked. Oh, it does bring out a lot more sweetness. Almost a little bit effervescence. That's really good. Yeah. Really different, though.
How many whiskeys are coming out of Finland? Are they the
No.
next big?
Not many.
Local
Not many.
outlets?
I think maybe the Iceland one was the only one that Iceland was making ever. Finland has a few more, but this is the one that has the most presence in the U.S.
Interesting.
You know, not to compare from what we had in the previous round, I think I like the previous round whiskeys better than this matchup.
This has nothing to do with the quality of B. B's ruining A. Because when you have B in your mouth, it doesn't complement A well at all. It's making A taste a little sour and distorted.
Due to the distinctiveness?
Yes.
Yeah. The A and the B last time were really complementary, but this time they're so different that they're fighting each other. Did you put water in A?
I did need to.
No. I don't really need to either, but I put it in B mine as well.
Ed is making a selection, handing it over. And, of course, we are waiting on Scott, who doesn't want to rush perfection.
No, I mean, A is much more caramely, sweet, and like wood. But also
Like a charred wood, yeah.
Yeah,
A
but,
sweet char.
the sweet wheat grain. And
absolutely.
B, which I really enjoy, it also has a youthfulness to it that you can taste, which was
Very
what hurt
similar to
the
last
Koval
round.
last round. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I got both of the selections
And was it
in hand.
unanimous?
It is unanimous.
All right.
Yeah.
You both picked A,
We picked A this time, yeah.
and you both picked the Weller
And so
Yes.
the dream matchup for me, the Elmer T. Lee versus its distillery mate, the Weller
Yeah,
12
you got your
year.
wish.
It's going to be, I mean, it wasn't like I stretched it.
No, it wasn't a hard decision. It really wasn't.
I have to tell you, those two should taste really freaking similar.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
it's going to be hard
That's
to pick
gonna be
one
the
there. In
really
fact,
hard
I
one.
think the next time we get together, Gabe, he might be employed to break that tie because I think we could
yeah.
come down either way on that.
I believe that is true.
So far, Gabe is dead sober and pissed off because he hasn't been able to drink anything. So,
No, I'm not pissed off.
right, because you know why he only
But he is dead sober.
He only gets pissed off when he's drunk. That's why this way. He's like dead.
Give me
no,
time, give me
fine.
time.
He's like reading Bible tracts back there just to kill time.
And in the beginning. Quick question. If the Kyrö went up against the Koval, where would you think you'd stand?
Oh, all fair. We'll let you know.
yeah, that would be
I will definitely
interesting.
taste them side by side.
Yeah, we'll do that off air and we'll render a verdict.
In fact, right now before rounds.
All right, let's do it.
Exhibition round.
Okay, so we decided to come back on and taste them, all three of us, just real quick. Just a splash of each, the Kyrö and the Koval.
Right. So okay.
Yeah, I just have to remember which glass is which. Because it's not blind.
So right now by itself, I had the Koval. It's delicious.
Yeah.
The Kyrö is just, it's distinctive. It's got some kind of like springiness about it. It's got some earthiness and some sweet.
It's very earthy. That's the good description there.
Yeah. So I would go Koval off my first instinct of
I would
tasting it.
too.
Yeah.
I would too, I think. Koval is a lot smoother. It's a lot more defined.
Yeah, it's more bourbon-like. It's more smoky. It's more traditional. Both good though. The Kyrö is just
It's
just
good.
distinctive.
It's one of a
nice.
kind, and I think that by itself, it's a nice change up. But when you put it against some more mature and finished whiskeys, not finished in, as far as in a barrel or something, but just more complete, if that means.
And not finish in the country.
right, and not finished. Lots of not. Maybe I choose a different word.
And look, you finished.
I did. I finished my testing. So we
have
did an
a Danish.
exhibition round so that the Koval can feel better on their bus ride.
Yeah. And we'll come back with the first matchup in the 100 proof bracket, the Jack Daniels Triple Mash versus the Four Roses Single Barrel.
Get up, nah, I ain't a quitter. Toss me the ball, I'm a really big hitter. Big picture, I'm a straight killer. Rising the song to the highest bidder. Got juice, got gas, I'ma move fast. New shoes, new tracks, like who's that? I'm new, come back better than last. Yeah, it's a new me, never gonna look back. Only I can make a change. Slowly take a step today. I will never be the same, 'cause that's what it takes.
All right, we are back to do the first matchup in the 100 proof bracket after two pretty easy
Yeah, for us, pretty easy.
90 proof matchups. we're going to do the Jack Daniel's Triple Mash, the 3rd seed, going against the Four Roses Single Barrel, the 2nd seed, and Ed's going to tell you about the Triple Mash.
Right, so of course Jack Daniel's Epic Distillery. It's at least 4 years based on the fact that all 3 mash bills that are included are bottle and bond, so we know they have to be at least 4 years. 60% of it will be Jack Daniel's Tennessee Rye, which is 70% rye, 80% corn, 12% malted barley. 20% will be Jack Daniel's Bonded, their Tennessee whiskey, 80% corn, 12% rye, 8% malted barley, and 20% of the ever-elusive, mysterious Jack Daniel's American Single Malt, which is 100% malted barley.
I did the math on the mash bill, if you want to know the derived mash bill.
Sure.
It's 27% corn, 44% rye, and 29% malted barley.
Fascinating.
It's not a rye or a bourbon.
Right, which is why it's really called Triple Mash.
Whiskey.
Right, London Straight Whiskey.
Yeah,
right.
There you go.
They're not lying.
No.
Their MSRP is about 35. It's a little bit more in Jersey, but not much. I think,
No.
what we get, 43, something like that?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, 45, maybe something at the most. I guess the thing that makes it interesting is like Jack Daniel's has been a lot like Maker's Mart in the fact that they've operated kind of the same when it comes to brand offering. They offer their main products, but over the last 10 years, both companies have been forced to change with the times. We've said this many times.
Yeah.
Jack Daniel's now offers a wide range of proofs and single barrels and limited releases, and yet Jack Daniel's has been careful not to deviate too far from their classic flavor profile. That's why the Triple Mash is a major step forward. It doesn't taste like anything else that they make. It's made from everything else they make, but the way they blended it has made a brand new, unique product. The flavor of this, I'm not even going to get into. I mean, it's all over the place. I'd have to do it for 3 different whiskeys, basically.
Yeah.
So just to say that, you know,
It's good.
It's good. It's going to be all right.
All right, so it's going up against the Four Roses Single Barrel. The distiller bottler owner is Four Roses Distillery in Lawrenceburg, Kentucky. The mash bill is their mash bill B, which is 60% corn, 35% rye, 5% malted barley. The yeast that they use is their V yeast, which they describe as delicate fruit, spicy, and creamy. The proof is 100. The age is about 7 years. The price is like $45. Four Roses uses 2 different mash bills and 5 different yeast strains to create 10 unique bourbon recipes, but their standard 100 proof single barrel is always the B mash bill and the V yeast strain, also known as OBSV. They say that for someone who wants a more complex bourbon experience, Four Roses Single Barrel is a 100 proof bourbon that embodies the uniqueness of an individual barrel, which was hand selected by our master distiller. It achieves a pronounced yet elegant flavor that is worth savoring. Fun facts, we featured this over 3 years ago on episode 36 with Anders when he got his jacket, and we featured its younger brother, the Four Roses Single Barrel Select, in last year's tournament. The tasting notes are heavy rye spice, honey, peaches, brown sugar, light oak, leather, mint, vanilla, raisins, and cherries. Now, Four Roses is one of my favorite traditional big distillery
Absolutely.
bourbons. I end up buying at least 2 or 3 bottles every year, which of course doesn't sound like much, but I'm a rye guy and I have a podcast and I'm always drowning in whiskey.
Yes.
So I seldom need to go out and get more. But when I do, or when I want to bring something to a party, I always eye up the Four Roses Single Barrel. It's just so consistently good. It's heavy on the rye spice with sweet cherry notes, which is right in my wheelhouse, and a ridiculously long finish. It's just excellent. And for 100 proof, 7 years, single barrel, it's dirt cheap at around $45. By and far, the best bargain in the whiskey aisle.
Yeah, and for my birthday, Siobhan gave me the Small Batch Select. Which,
Also delicious.
in fact, it'd be interesting because the Small Batch Select, didn't it go down against a Remus?
I think so, yes.
They're both big blends. you
Yeah, in
know?
this round, we've had 4 brands who had expressions last year.
Yeah, which is consistency, but different. I love it.
Yeah.
All right, so Gabe support them. We're about to get A and B here, and we're going to find out whether the Four Roses Single Barrel, an iconic favorite of ours, is going to be able to beat the Jack Daniel's Triple Mash. That smells amazing, whatever that is.
That was A, and now B.
For once, I'm not really sure what I have.
Right, on the nose, they're pretty similar.
Very mild noses.
Yeah, they're both very subtle on the nose. I think A has a little bit more, less, or I would say less sweetness than B.
I sipped B first just because I was done smelling them. So
Well, you're a B.
you're a B. You're a B. You're
Here's
a
a fun little story while you guys are nosing and tasting. During this past week, I was watching Pulp Fiction, as you do on occasion, and I was texting a friend of mine. And as I would text, I would pause the movie at certain points to, get a text across and
B.
whatever.
And masturbate to John Travolta like you do.
Yeah, like you do. Yeah, occasionally. The one scene where Bruce Willis and Ving Rhames, the scene where they go into Zed's
The
store.
Zeds, yeah.
Yeah, Spider, I've got another fly.
Right.
Yeah.
I paused it at one point, and the guy behind the counter had a shotgun to Ving Rhames, and behind him was a sign, Killian's Irish Red. Partially, the lights weren't on. What was lit up in red was Kill Ed.
Oh.
Wow.
And I thought, knowing our history, I thought, wow. And I paused it at that point.
Oh, my God, Gabe, put the knife away! Oh, yeah, look at that.
For them to have Kill Ed.
Yeah.
I got a little
interesting.
chuckle out of that, and then something psychotic snapped in my brain, and
Right.
I had to fight off the urge to
and
drive
then
to
at
your
the
place.
same time, I was murdered in my apartment by a random intruder.
Nothing wrong with a little murder among friends.
That's right.
I love that you found that amusing. I appreciate that. Yep.
B is so spectacular. B is in your face. A is very subtle. It's going to take me a little bit longer to pick out the flavor notes in A as compared to B.
A is very sweet. It has an interesting flavor. It's very good. It's a bit subtle. B is a little bit more of a punch in the mouth.
Yeah.
Could I have another little splash of B?
Sure.
Just a sip. I just need one more sip.
It's got a nice cola flavor, which I didn't taste on any of these before that, but drinking seltzer right before it really washed off the A before I had the B.
There's bubbles in this. Did you spit in my...
He's trying to kill you. Remember, we've already established this.
It smells like cyanide now.
You handed me the glass. I poured the shot and gave it back to you when I spit in it. And for once, Scott is handing me his decision first.
Yeah.
Ed is torn.
After tasting them both, to me, it's easy.
A is 80% delicious, and then the finish is a little bit off. It's the only thing that keeps me from picking A right out with. And then there's B. I'm getting close. I'll be ready in a second.
12 o'clock midnight.
It became really clear, putting a couple drops of water in it.
We have both decisions.
I'm very
here.
confident in mine.
Was it a unanimous decision?
It was a unanimous decision.
Oh.
Don't know why I paused there because
I don't know. You're being
already
William
let you know
Shatner.
what-
Very dramatic.
Okay, Shatner.
You both chose the Four Roses single barrel.
That's right.
That's right.
That's right.
So the triple mash hit some notes for me and hung in for a while.
It did.
And when I put water in it, the finish became more sour. And once again, I think this is because you're going back and forth with the Four Roses. So it's kind of comparing in your mouth with the two of them. And the Four Roses single barrel, my last sip of that was just perfection. So not only have we been unanimous for the first time in a very long time on this tournament.
I don't think we've ever been unanimous 3 times in a row.
Right.
And it was the dropping the water in that decided
Yes,
for me as
me
well.
too.
Because the finish without the water on the A was kind of pleasant. But with the water, it kind of just faded out. And you had a sour note
I had
on
a
it
sour
as well.
aftertaste for sure.
Yeah, and the B didn't. It didn't really change it at all. The
Yeah, I've
finish.
been drinking that much, it's giving. I'm having a Kentucky hug right now. I just slammed so much whiskey, like a couple ounces in like 3 minutes.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Yeah.
no upsets.
No.
Right? And me and Scott unanimous. So this is maybe not exciting podcasting, but really delicious drinking.
I don't think we've never not had an upset. So that means there might be an upset in the next matchup, which is the Blue Note Crossroads 4th seed against the Remus Repeal Reserve 7, the 1st seed.
So we're going to clean the glasses, come back, tell you about the details on each. And we have never had 4 consensus on a round.
Nope.
In the history of the tournament, which is going on, is this a 5th year?
It's 5th year, yeah.
I mean, Gabe is so sober, he's actually doing his taxes over there right now. He's like, hey, April's coming up soon. He's like, he's got receipts laid out all over the place.
Make no mistake, I am drinking here. I am imbibing.
He has a Jim Beam black IV drip on just to keep him steady.
Yeah, yeah. Just give me a nice steady state.
All right, everybody, we'll be right back.
All right.
Try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. Looking for change, looking for pain. Pulling a mob, pushing a train. I never stop, stick to a lane. Pick up the pieces and go rearrange. I'll be the best above all the rest, put me to the test and expect nothing less, your check as I'm chess, what's happening next, yeah. He got the venom, a tangible weapon, no coming in second. This life is a lesson, he got a new engine from pain, it's a blessing. New focus, no guessing, just bold and obsession. All in his possession, you got their attention. I'll leave an impression and take your redemption. Just kill no discretion, your mind is a weapon. 11-11, it's time for progression, oh!
All right, so we're back. We're about to do the final matchup in the 100 to 109 proof bracket. This is going to be the Remus Repeal Reserve Series 7 against the upstart Blue Note Crossroads. And Scott's going to tell you about Blue Note.
Right. So the category is a double oaked bourbon. The bottler owner is BR Distilling. And
Oh, shit, it's double oaked? I didn't realize that.
yeah, from Memphis, Tennessee. The source distiller is Green River Distilling. The mash bill is 70% corn, 21% rye, 9% malted barley. The proof is 100. The age is at least 3 years.
Wow, a whole 3 years. Yeah. Huh? Well, wait till you get to mine.
I know. The price is $40. So the description, which is from them, this unique expression combines the unmistakable boldness of Blue Note bourbon with the sophistication of finishing it in the finest toasted French oak barrels from the artisanal Tonnerie Radeau cooperage, located in central France, which places the emphasis on a wood-focused finish and creates a bourbon that is decidedly mellow, yet still flavorful. Gentle and smooth, it delivers notes of dried dark fruit and quickly transitions to a manageable bite of oak. In every sip, there is the unforgettable intersection
Crossroads.
of tones that embody the spirit of the blues, the sound and movement of which were meant to break the rules. Fun facts, it won the double gold at the San Francisco World Spirits Competition last year. We tasted it on episode 68 just last October. After receiving 5 different expressions from them in the mail, and except for that limited crazy 7-blend release they sent, this one was my favorite of their expressions. And we featured it sibling in last year's Madness, the Juke Joint Uncut. The tasting notes for this one, the Crossroads, is raisin, plum, prune, vanilla, toasted marshmallow, oak, leather, molasses, milk chocolate, and baking spice.
Nice.
Wow. Now, real quick, there's a rumor that the master distiller for Blue Note sold his soul to the devil. Is that true?
No, I don't know that that's a thing.
Is that Crossroads? Are you doing the
The Crossroads,
movie?
yeah.
Thank you. There you go.
We get down to the Crossroads.
Steve Vai being the
Right.
devil.
Clapton did a song on Crossroads.
They
too,
did, yeah.
Well, welcome to the joke.
Sorry, I was really late. I was so late on that, Gabe. You're right. I completely apologize to you. I didn't know what the fuck you were talking
I
about.
know, Ed's looking at me as like, that's why I had to explain it.
I was kind of reading mine coming up, so I wasn't paying attention. I'm so sorry, Gabe. That was funny.
Right. So,
You want to tell it again? I'll laugh.
it's going up against the Remus Repeal Reserve, and Ed's here with a description.
Right. The Remus Repeal Reserve Series 7 is the latest installment from MGP in their prestigious line of bourbons that pays tribute to George Remus, a legendary figure from Prohibition era that we've talked about extensively on here. It's known for its exceptional craftsmanship and commitment to recreating the essence of that bygone era. So this is a blend of 2 of MGP's famous mash bills. They're 21% rye bourbon mash bill, which is 75% corn, 21% rye, and 4% malted barley. And they're 36% rye, which is 60% corn, 36% rye, and 4% malted barley.
My type of bourbon.
The 5 bourbons included in this bottle, 6% is a 21% that's from 2007, 26% is from a 21% rye bourbon distilled in 2013, 21% is a 21% rye bourbon distilled in 2014, 26% is a 36% rye bourbon distilled in 2013, and finally the last part is 21% of a 36% rye bourbon distilled in 2014, and
Gabe's miming an adding machine.
Right.
Which is funny because I actually did do the derived mash bill.
which is, Scott?
68% corn, 28% rye, 4% malted barley, and the age is 9.94 years.
Interesting.
Exactly.
Wow. So
That's
fucking
funny because I
interesting.
came up with pie.
Well, 3 times pie, and you'll be close.
So the nose should be some brown sugar and allspice. The mouth feel should be caramel, cinnamon, allspice, green apple, leather, and oak. And the finish should be medium in warmth and length with notes of leather, oak, cinnamon, and green apples.
Like you, medium warmth and length.
Yeah, that's right. We've talked about how things make my look smaller.
Oh my God.
My hands, my body, and evidently my extra size
Oh
too.
my Jesus.
You might want to cut that out.
Or you're not circumcised?
It's not really. No, I am. Unfortunately,
Oh, you said cut that out.
Fuck. Now you won't cut it out.
can't cut
Why
it
don't
out.
you just do what I ask you to do instead of being funny all the time? So fine.
It's a curse. It really is.
So let's talk about the matchup.
Yeah. Let's be serious now.
No, I'm just saying. Let's get off of my for a minute. Both of you get off my.
I didn't know I was on
Oh,
it.
this is going off the rails. I love it.
So, this is what happens when you've already had 6 whiskeys.
That's
so,
true. That's true.
So, on paper, this shouldn't be a matchup, right? We have an elite whiskey with different whiskeys blended together against a really good whiskey, but young. You know, I don't know. We've been surprised before. We're doing upset any minute now. So Gabe's got them poured.
Yeah.
Let us have them, Gabe.
Yeah, this one's super interesting. The mash bills are the closest that we've had, actually.
Interesting.
But it's really going to come down to age, just as you were saying. The 3-year versus basically 10-year average, but there's like 16-year whiskey in the Remus.
Oh my God, the nose. Tell me if you can tell difference.
Yeah. The Crossroads, though, is finished in a new barrel, so that could make it taste a little older.
So the A feels like it's got a stronger nose, but I don't know if that's because of the youthfulness of the Crossroads or of the complexity of the Remus.
They're really similar in color.
On a side note, the Remus has a really cool looking Art Deco label to
Oh,
it.
Yeah, it's really cool.
It's a really neat looking bottle. I mean, I know you guys don't talk about, bottling and labeling very much, but some of these...
Well, I take offense. We do.
You do.
What the fuck is that? Just say what you want to say without labeling us as not caring about bottles.
All right, well, fuck
What the
you.
fuck was that?
Random belligerence.
We haven't had that for quite a while, have we?
Yeah. He's still mad we talked about his earlier.
I will say this before we start. You should be able to get 2.5 bottles of the Crossroads for 1 bottle of the Remus.
Right.
So
Right.
if they're close and you want to save a lot of money.
Okay, so the color is similar. The nose is similar.
Yeah.
And I tasted A. I'm going to taste B.
Ooh, A's good.
Okay. And they are similar. Mash bills.
They are. Wow.
First impression, B has a bit more depth, but A is good.
Yeah, A is delicious by itself, but why does B have more depth? Is it more complex or is it rawer? I'm not sure. So
Yeah.
I agree with you, but A was absolutely scrumptious. If we Google the database, I've never used scrumptious before on the podcast, but A was scrumptious.
Maybe talking about Gabe. Yeah.
He's a hottie.
Gabe is scrumptious.
Yeah. Without the beard, I think he'd be pedestrian, but the beard makes him
Scrumptious.
kind of sexy.
When I clean
Is the
it.
word. When you clean it. Yeah. Please do that.
No, I like it when it's full of my.
Oh, my God.
God, I thought that was clam chowder.
Holy shit. Talk about having
have to
to
cut
cut that one.
You
Shit.
have to cut that. I'm not even kidding. That's just too much. No, you have to. I'm fucking serious. I'm making a stand. Did I get that? That was because it had to be said, but it doesn't have to be in. So if you want to bleep it, you can keep it in, but you bleep it.
That's what I was going to say. I said, you just talk yourself into what I was going to say.
Oh. Wow, this is the fucking hardest. Don't tell me this isn't harder than the other
No,
one.
this is the absolute hardest.
Yeah, this is the premier bout right here.
Because the only difference that I can taste is one seems a little fuller bodied almost.
I will say B's finish is a little vinyl-y.
Yeah,
Is
I
it
can
better?
taste
I'm
that.
not sure.
I can taste that.
I put a couple drops of water
finish.
in. I
put
think
some
I
water.
should
There
just-
you
I'm
go.
going to put 2 drops in each, like as did
That was
last time.
3.
Oh, was there 3? Don't look at my drops.
I'm calling you a liar.
Oh, bitch.
I wasn't sure who said that for a second.
I like ventriloquized
Wow.
it. Ventriloquized it into Ed's mouth.
Your mom.
Wow, you know what? I think I'm getting a feeling which one I like better.
Okay.
It's funny how if you stay with it long enough,
Yeah, I edit this down, but we're taking multiple sips of these.
Yeah.
And going back and forth between them, and sometimes cleansing our palate and sometimes not cleansing our palate, just to see what the differences are.
please, I asked for a little more of A.
Shit. I mean, putting water in only made it harder.
I agree.
They,
That's exactly why I asked for more, because I drank mine straight, then I drank it with water, and I still don't have a conclusion, so I have to go back for more.
it evened out whatever differences that I could discern. And now it's hard.
So should I put water in my new batches or go straight?
No,
Straight.
because
Yeah.
putting the water is going to just even them out, and you're not going to be able to figure out the differences.
This is the heavyweight bout of the night.
It's 1 through 4, which we said on paper shouldn't be a matchup, and here we are.
Yeah, I really don't know which one I'm going to pick. I think that A might be a little sweeter than B, and B is a little bit more spicy.
No, that's not even little. It's fact.
That's
A
what
is
you're getting?
sweeter, B is spicier.
Yeah.
Which do I like better is what I can't decide.
Yeah.
Having you guys said that, and I'm looking at what you just described, it's I'm not going to give anything away, but it's a bit surprising.
Interesting. All right, I think I am ready to make a decision. However, when I tasted one of them, it ended up tasting what I liked about the other one. So
Yeah,
one more
you really
taste.
have to eat
Yeah.
your cracker
I
between
am.
them. You have to
Yeah,
really
I
clean
have
your
Ed's in
palate.
hand.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to scrub your tongue with the toothbrush real quick. Come here.
Wow.
That's not a toothbrush.
Close your eyes and pretend.
A flesh brush.
Oh, my God.
What? Gabe's choking now.
Right. Right. It's funny, like, Scott's flesh brush didn't really catch on like the Fleshlights did. We have cases and cases stacked up around here. The Whiskey Tangent Flesh Brush.
These aren't selling.
Yeah. It's modeled after Scott's manhood with a brush attached.
Oh my God. Woo. All right.
Okay.
So
All right.
I've made my decision.
If we're the same on this, I'll be shocked. Because
I will be shocked as well.
I think we're all over the place.
So, Gabe, was it a unanimous decision
no, it's a tie.
Oh, shit. Here we go. Here we go. Finally, Gabe's in the game, everybody.
Scott picked B, which was...
I thought B was...
I thought B was the Crossroads.
B was the Crossroads.
Oh, shit.
Wow.
And that's what I picked.
Yes.
Yes.
Ed
Okay.
picked A, which was the Remus.
Wow.
All right, so I'm going to switch places with Gabe. We're going to get him to break the tie. I knew he wouldn't go 4 in a row with a consensus. We've never done it, and we didn't do it again.
Overtime.
So Ed has poured the tiebreaker between the Remus Repeal Reserve 7, the number 1 seed. It's tied against the Blue Note Crossroads 4th seed. Ed, please hand Gabe the glasses.
Here's A. Here's B.
A's very oaky on the nose, very traditional. B is not quite so prominent, but still very traditional, very, very smooth.
You're getting more off the nose than I did, but wait till you taste them.
We didn't really get a lot off the nose.
That's where the party starts. Good job, Gabe. To his credit, his nose is not burnt out like ours.
Exactly.
Even though I've been fighting off a cold for 2 weeks, but A is more prominent. But I'm going over tasting.
Fucking martyr. No one gives a fuck about
Wow.
Wow. Cold. Everyone has a cold. It's fucking February. We all have colds. Well, it's March now.
A come off kind of strong, but not bad. B is a little more immature, a little more harsh, a little more smoky. So I'm going to put a little water in both of these, cleanse my palate, and try again. It's
tough, right?
It is very tough. They're distinctive.
At the end of the day, it's just a testament to Crossroads to be in this game this time.
Really is. I mean, they are very similar.
You know,
a 10-year average versus a 3-year, that's incredible.
Having dropped some water in both of these, they're still not distinguishing.
Right. We talked about how all it did was make it more confusing for
Yes.
us.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
they brought up a little more orange zest.
Oh, nice.
It didn't really diminish any of the heat, but they're both lingering pretty well.
You take your time, man, because there's one, the one I chose, is actually a little bit better than the other one. So figure out which one I chose.
Is
from the one I
Very,
gave.
very subtle.
Is it?
Very subtle.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one that I chose was the best one, but if you can figure out which one that is.
Well,
now.
Gabe has picked with you twice already
Right,
in round 1, so I have no doubt he will also pick with you again.
Well, we have some Irish in us, so that's why.
Yeah, I'm Scottish. I'm not going to say which one is which, but on one of them I'm getting more cinnamon now, and one of them I'm getting more chocolate.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, I'm not picking up any of those.
Okay. I purposely didn't say which one was which.
Are you sure you poured me one of each?
Yeah, exactly. This is where we're at. They're really close.
Yeah, it's a toss-up, but I think because of the slight elevated maturity of A, I'm going with that one.
And the immaturity of me.
A. Okay.
All right.
He chose A.
Is that your final answer?
Yeah.
It's just slightly more in depth, a little more mature, a little more solid. So A.
And A was...
And the number 1 seed, the Remus Repeal Reserve, goes through. Gabe is picked with me again.
Again.
Wow.
So the top seed survives, and we've gone through a whole bracket without an upset, which is also rare for us.
I will tell you, though,
By the way, Ed, the check did clear about 20 minutes ago.
that I thought I was picking the Remus when
Yes.
I picked the Crossroads.
Crossroads has certainly distinguished itself in this
Sure.
tournament.
Yeah.
And I think that anyone who's listening to this is going to go out and buy a $45 bottle of Crossroads
It's a good buy. It really
because
is.
they're like, holy crap. Because once again, next year, the Remus 7 is gone, but the Crossroads will still be here.
Yep.
And I think that's the most important thing to take away from this if you're the Blue Note
And
Distillery.
the price difference.
Oh my God. Yeah, you could have 2.5 bottles of this.
Yeah.
So great job, Gabe. Thank you for selecting the Remus so that we can have a really interesting one moving forward. Scott?
What?
Well, we're done this round.
Do a wrap up.
We want to do it right from here.
Okay, yeah. So we have the Emerald Lee going up against the Weller 12-year bourbon in the 90 to 99 proof bracket.
Outstanding. I cannot wait for that. I'm so excited I
Yeah.
can barely breathe.
And we have the Four Roses single barrel
Oh my God.
going up the top seed, the Remus Repeal Reserve
Right.
bourbon.
So we have 1-2 versus 1-2.
Yeah, round 3 is next
Yeah,
week.
so tune in next week where we'll have the bracket finals of all 4 brackets.
Yeah.
The 80, the 90, the 100, and the 110. The week after that, we'll have the semifinals and the final pour.
Correct.
All right, Gabe, thank you for helping out.
Thanks, Gabe.
Yeah.
For the Whiskey Tangent Podcast, I'm Ed, everybody.
I'm Scott.
And I am Gabe.
Cheers.
Later.
Take that, make them take it all back. Don't tell me you believe that. Aren't you just gonna take that? Or will you fucking fight back? Yeah. You ain't gonna make it. You ain't never ever gonna break it. You can never beat them and they're better than you face it. Thinking that they give a damn, you're not thinking straight, kid. No, they don't give a damn, you got what I'm saying? I'm not fucking playing. I'll give it to you straight, man. There's too many others and you're not that great, man. Stop what you're saying, stop what you're making. Everybody here knows that you just fake it.